What's up, guys? Welcome to this episode of Imp Art. Now, I'm doing something a little bit different than normal. I'm going to have a conversation with somebody. You may already know him. I'm very excited about this. His name is Robert Hollywood Gobelet. Hold it, I got that wrong. It's Gobelet. I thought he was French when I first met him, but he is not. He's just a good old American boy from Tennessee. You know how we like our Tennessee boys. But we're kind of doing something a bit different all the way around. Robert has a podcast, and we've been friends for a few years. And when I found out he started doing a podcast, I was like, man, I would love to do it with you because we've done several projects together. Every time I hang out with Robert, it's like all we do is talk. And, like the biggest thing about my channel is it's all about improv, and conversations are every bit improv. So I was like, hey man, let's get together. Let's do this. Nothing's been rehearsed. This is all off the top of the head. It should be fun. But before we get to it, I have to say something about our sponsors. Today, we're being sponsored by a company that I think I discovered it when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and it's helped me get through a lot of tough times. Sometimes life will be getting you down. People will just be coming at you. You don't know how to handle it. But this company, if you can understand how it works and operates, it will help you get through so many things. This company is called Sarcasm, and it will help you deal with things, and people can say mean things to you, help you deal with it in a way that you're like, oh, whatever. So sarcasm. Don't come around here. We really don't care about you.
Yeah.
So, some people can get it. Some people can be taught it. I found that it's more of something that's inside a person, a natural attitude that they have. And it usually comes off a lot better that way. So without any more ado, let's get into this conversation with Robert Hollywood Gobelet.
Yeah. I'm going to do an intro for mine. No,
Okay.
well, I was going to say, but I'm having a conversation right here with Nathan Austin, which is fantastic because we've been wanting to do this for a while. So I'm actually pretty excited. So yes, non-rehearsed. So put me on the spot. It's funny, every single time I do one of these podcasts, I actually get nervous. I was driving up here going, God, I don't know what I'm going to say.
I was going to say, Robert, from the moment he walked in, I've just been setting stuff up, and I really haven't even got to talk to him. So we have not even talked about anything that we're saying or doing. We're just going with it. And then not only is it me and Robert here, we also have
like a whole team.
Yeah. So we've got over here in the chair watching the monitors and everything. We have Aiden. Look at Caden and tell us your name.
Hello, my name's Aiden Sorrells. Here looking at all the monitors, making sure everything's going well.
Looking at this pretty boy right here.
Oh yeah, you know it.
He's keeping it
right here.
Keeping it real.
He's keeping an eye on us to make sure that we are wrangled and stay in line. And then we got Parker White over here on the computer. He's going to be the one looking up information for us.
Big boy Goldie. I'm running it up right now.
And then we have my brother, Caden Austin, as a cameraman. And, well, pretty much everybody's seen Caden do stuff with me. So we're kind of like a package.
Yeah, this is the biggest crew I've ever had for my podcast.
This is about the biggest crew I've ever had for anything.
Yeah. I like working with a small man crew. We're actually, you've listened to the podcast, you've listened to the show. I actually prefer like the guerrilla style. That's my favorite thing. Like I've done some big stuff, but I prefer doing the more independent. I love middle ground. That's how I met Nathan. I love that video. I love what y'all did. I love the whole concept. I love that you went out and without permission, just went out in the woods and got one of my favorite shots, I guess, even though has nothing really to do with the plot. Was the fact that y'all went out and killed the animal and had it on skin. So I know it's just crazy. I mean, allegedly. I mean, I don't know.
Funny story. The man right over there holding the camera is the one who harvested the. Well, he got those props.
He got the props for us. Yeah, guys. Yes.
We showed up one day and Dallas was like, hey, Caden, we need some animals to hang around Angela's waist. And he said, hold on. Was gone like 20 minutes, came back and had like a squirrel, a groundhog. And I was like, that's my brother. And yeah, so like that scene that you saw, probably about 4 hours prior is when he made those props.
That's cool. Yeah, because the props look pretty good.
And he was only like 8 years old at that time.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, I didn't really didn't meet him until we did the Christmas video.
Yeah, when we did the Christmas video and you were dressing the chicken.
Yes. I'm trying to remember when Middle Ground was. I know I was just looking that up just a minute ago. Was that like 2015 or so?
Something like that, because we were out of Murray State at that time. And I think I graduated in 2013. So yeah, it was like 2015 because we came all the way back from California.
Yeah, because I didn't start taking the film industry serious until 2014, right after my divorce. I got divorced in August of 2014. By then, I was like really hammering on trying to start a career doing movies and stuff like that. And I think that's when I landed like with VNC Talent with Cheryl Mann and
It's just, okay. Like what I remember about you and the Middle Ground and everything. So we filmed it 1 year, and then I came back the next year to sell.
Yeah, I was there for both. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were sitting there talking to me for like 30 minutes. You kept asking questions and everything, and I was sitting there and I was like, who is this dude? Why does he keep talking to me? I mean, like I was like, you were acting like we were like all friends and stuff. And I mean, like honestly, if I would have paid attention, I just did not.
Well, y'all were selling the DVDs that year,
Yes.
and that's you were more for business. Like this was my setup. Who the hell is this guy?
It's also like I didn't remember you until you said there was something you said, and then it clicked in my head. I was like, oh, I know who this is. Yeah, I thought you were just some random person from where we were at, like Sacramento. Sacramento
Oh, yeah,
was, like,
yeah.
a tiny spot, and I was like, who is this person that? Because everybody knows everybody around there. And I thought it was somebody that like knew my parents, knew I was back in, and just like. Because when I first started doing,
I don't remember any of the questions I was asking you. Other, it's probably filmmaking questions because, like I said, I've been doing filmmaking my whole life, but it was all like old school, like with a big VHS camera, like from the 80s. I had like literally it was a VHS camcorder, and then I had a Panasonic DVX 100, and that was probably my biggest like investment. I'd say probably in 06, 07, I bought it from WBBJ Channel 7. It was one of their like news crew cameras and stuff like that, and it shot like an HD, but it used the mini tapes. Anyway, and had to use like the old Foxwire to the computer and edit with Final Cut or Final Cut 4 or something like that. Like it shows how old I am. But anyway, so we started doing a Civil War, like a little mini short Civil War film is what it was going to start out as. And the script just kept developing and growing. It became one of those things that's like impossible for an indie guy to film. But we went to I'd say probably a half a dozen or more reenactments a year for 4 years to build that trailer. I don't know if you ever saw the Tears of Glory trailer. Yeah, and I thought it was really good, but most of that footage came from, like I said, it was like a half a dozen or more reenactments for 4 years straight, just going, trying to catch everything we could. I shot some stuff with you, to add to it, some model trains, everything to build this trailer up. But anyway, so I was at the Battle of Sacramento, I think it was like 2015 or something like that, and we were shooting, and I really wanted to capture, and it was so funny, I wanted to capture the blue and gray soldiers just kind of colliding, but of course you don't do that in a reenactment, so I'm just getting anything I can, and so I'm setting up, and then all of a sudden you and Dallas are like pulling people together to do the exact shot I wanted, and I'm like, oh, no, this is beautiful, bring my camera, and all I brought was like a little teeny mini, like a little handheld JVC, and so I set that up and got like pretty much the same. Sit beside y'all's camera. I'm like, I'll get the same shots,
Yeah, that was.
Oh, I can't think of that guy's name. Austin, I think was his name. The one with the drone that got all that shots. Yeah, that was beautiful. I wish he still did filming.
He might.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know. I haven't seen him.
That year, whenever I went back, I saw him then, and like I never heard from him or his friend. There was two of them.
Yeah. Jordan was his friend, and I think his name was Sean. Actually, I said Austin, but I think his name was Sean.
Maybe.
I'd have to look. I know I'm friends with him on Facebook, so every now and then I'll like look them up, to see if they're doing anything. Yeah, that's how I met you and met him and stuff like that. So I'm still continuing to do stuff in the film, and then the next year I'm still getting more footage, and then that's when you had like your own little panel and table set up, to sell the DVDs. And
Well, one thing that I remember the most out of your conversations, it wasn't the questions and stuff. It was you telling me about when you did a fundraiser, you was trying to do the film, one of your first films, The Life of Somebody.
Probably Bob's Life.
Yeah, Bob's Life.
Yeah, Bob's Life.
You were telling me about that and how it was like it just didn't really go the way that I wanted it to and everything. And I was like,
that's one of that. Okay, that proves that you and me go back, because I haven't really talked about Bob's Life to anybody really much since 2014 at least. I mean, it's like and that was a big thing growing up when I was a teenager. Those sitcoms like Life with Louie, and stuff like that, the animated series, and then a lot of comedians were getting their own shows like Seinfeld and Titus, which is Christopher Titus on Fox. That was a big like inspiration like for me. It was a guy who had come from a serious dysfunctional family, so I related to him immediately, and he got out of the slumps and got successful, and so I was I don't know, it was just the story about his life. Yeah. So I had developed Bob's Life when I was like 16, and pretty much literally transcribed every episode of Friends on hand paper, and would get my friends to like reenact certain versions of Friends. I just changed the names to Bob and Dave and Joe and stuff like that. And we made a bunch of those videos back in high school, like I said, with the old VHS tapes, and we would go to the video store and get like these old kung fu movie tapes and stuff like that nobody ran anymore, and we put the tape over them so you could record over them, and we record our episodes onto the VHS tape and so bring them back to the video store so people could rent our show, and because that was way before the age of YouTube.
That was way before anyone cared about piracy.
Yeah.
Finding out, it didn't matter that your face was plastered all over
with our name. I mean, it was all.
Yeah, though I don't know what the statute of limitations is on that stuff, but
yeah, that was a long time ago. That was like 90s, I think. So
I'm sure.
Yeah, so I think I'm fine.
But that's not a mission of guilt. I know you make a lot of things up.
Yeah, that's all. I'm just
we all do.
Mess around. Allegedly, I did some of those things, but no, we had a good time, and so we developed that, and then I think it was 2007 when I finally wrote the movie called Bob's Life, the movie that doesn't exist. And the whole concept is this guy Bob, he's gets fired from his job, his girlfriend breaks up with him, and he's forced to live in a cardboard box, and he decides it's now or never, let's make a movie. And the concept is still pretty good.
Would you say that you got stuck in the character? Are you a method actor?
Yeah, I was stuck in the character from like the 90s till 2014. Somewhere around there, especially like the failed pilot, the failed movie, the failed book, and the failed music album. I was like, this character just isn't going very far. I always studied him for about 20 years. Finally, I was like, I think it's time for my character to grow.
Well, I noticed when you got your clothes out of the car, it was in a cardboard box. You just bring your house with you?
It's on a trash bag now. Come on, man. I don't know. It's a duct tape car.
It was raining, so the trash bag would be helpful.
Yeah.
A waterproof house. Well, I mean, things worked out for Bob, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
You're sitting here with the biggest screw you've ever been with.
That's right. Yeah. No, I do. I sometimes think about that, but it was definitely a script of its time, a story of its time. Like, it'd be really hard for me to play that character now and do it the way I wanted to, because like it was based on like a single young guy just hitting like 20, and the whole concept of the scripted movie is pretty much him trying to do his movie on VHS tapes, and like I would have to either get a good funding to make this movie a time like a period film, or I'd have to update everything to the newest technology, because part of the script.
Or you just go film in Sacramento, Kentucky.
Yeah, that's right. I'd say it's back in time. It's like the 80s back where I live, so I mean that's fun too.
Or we could walk out this house and film it here, which looks like it's also back in time in Cave City.
Yep.
Did you notice that coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like
nothing has changed.
No, it's like we're back in the 70s. Which at one point, me and Tabitha was going to do a photo shoot at one of the, like where the go-kart track is and stuff, and like the lift that goes up the mountain and everything, where they have like they've got like this Western town on top of it.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I've never gotten a chance to go up there. They shot a movie up there too, not
Maybe
5,
not
10
long
years
ago,
ago, yeah.
but when Travis Tritt was huge back like before the 80s or whatever, he used to come here. And this place used to be like, they said it was like Dollywood or like Disneyland around here. Like it was packed out all the time. Like it used to be really huge around here. And then like a lot of things. You ever seen the Goofy movie?
Yeah, I love Goofy movie.
Possum Jamboree.
Yep.
Like it
Yeah,
kind of
that's-
became like that. Like when we went there, we had this haunted house, and we went through it because the people was like, "Now we don't want you recording in here. We don't want like people to see our state of the art technology and stuff." I guess, and we go through it, and I was like,
Somebody
like-
with a cassette player in the back, click. Woo!
like Billy Bob's kids with puppets on their hands reaching out at you. I was like, oh wow, like this is cool. Let's go get drunk. That's scarier than what I saw in the haunted house. So what are you working on now?
Other than the podcast, I'm going to school. I graduate in October with Full Sail University. And then I also have my book that just came out, that Dead at Dusty Creek Cowboy book. And so I've been doing like a little mini book tour with it. And then really I'm trying to develop Blood Moon Massacre. It's a horror film that I had started,
The one back during COVID.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, I started it right after the Western collapse.
Okay.
Because what happened, and you've heard the podcast, so I ain't going to repeat the story like over and over and over. But like COVID had hit and it shut us down. But I'd spent all of my money, like a lot of money, more than I meant to, just biting off more than I could chew. And anyway, yeah, so that shut us down. I didn't know. I probably didn't even leave the house or show my face for a little while because I was just ashamed as a filmmaker as another failure. But anyway, so I developed Blood Moon Massacre to be something I could just shoot on my phone with my friends. It was gonna be just a fun little, like, it was maybe a little bit more than a short. Like I wanted to go ahead and do a feature, but I wanted it to be kind of an action packed. Like I said, just 6 people, one location. Serial killer taking people out one at a time. And I just, my biggest issue when I write a script is I write it bigger than what it needs to be. And
A lot of people do that.
Yeah, I'm very guilty of that. So anyway, I wrote the script, and it was a little bit bigger than just doing it on a cell phone with my friends. And that led me to go to Rob Blair and Jeff Yarbrough, who are cinematographers and work a lot with the Sailor Brothers. And I pitched the idea to Rob Blair, and he took a look at the script and said that he would be willing to bring like he had like a red camera at the time, and so he was going to be the cinematographer and stuff like that.
Dude,
We
that'd be
needed
cool. My cameras are all black.
There you go.
I'd like to have a red one, just add some color to my different cameras. I'd like to have a pink one,
I
really.
was gonna say, green, yeah. Green looks great.
Like,
Pink with the background right here,
it would match.
So, yeah.
But a red one. Did he paint it? Like spray paint it?
Yeah. Put stickers on it to make it look like it. But yeah, it was a pretty cool setup that he had. Like I said, they did a bunch of movies and stuff with the Sailor Brothers, and he was going to be the cinematographer. And then I forgot the name of the lady. She was the head of the Women in Film out of Nashville. She got a hold of the script and really liked the script, and said she could get it produced and send it to a studio. And then the studio said, we want to option the movie out. Like, we'll make this movie, but it needs to be rewritten for a bigger budget. You're thinking too small. So it went through about a dozen drafts, and finally we settled on a script. Like, I remember it was script number 13 because of Friday the 13th, and I was like, all right, lucky 13. And submitted that script, and they finally approved it, and it was like a $250,000 movie. And they're like, all right, we're gonna make it. And then waited like 2 years, and nothing ever happened. And finally, the option kind of ran out, and they gave me the script back. And
So, like, the point of all this being
yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah,
maybe just do it on your own.
yeah, exactly. Once I got the rights back and everything, I decided, all right, back to the drawing board. Let's do this. Low budget, low key.
And also, like, within your means.
Yeah.
That's something I see a lot of people do. They'll write these scripts, and I mean, I've backed out of projects because people will have stuff in there about explosions or trains or like doing things like moving semis and stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah, Yeah,
Okay,
we got $500 and a camera. We're needing all you to volunteer. Maybe let us borrow your lights. But hey, we're gonna blow up a building, and it's like you just read the script and know that ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, and I mean, like that's something that Dallas and I really appreciated about working with him was everything we did was within our means. Now, I'm not saying that we did not have to buy stuff or try to get certain things, props and different things, because you always do. But everything we wrote was within like almost what we had at our disposal anyway.
Well,
So it made it easy to like finish a project.
yeah, Kevin Smith did that, and he used to say that all the time. It's almost reverse filmmaking. Look what your resources is,
Yeah.
and then see, like use just write based on your resources what you have available. Robert Rodriguez, is famous for El Mariachi or whatever by doing that. Like, he's like, this is what I have access to. This is what I'll make work in my constraints and budget, and that's what I'm hoping Blood Moon is now, but we'll see. But yeah, I like Dallas. I don't remember the first movie I worked on him with because I didn't work obviously with you.
Was it Delaware?
No, that was like the second or third. I don't know. See, I don't remember what all he's done, so I'm gonna have to like literally think for a second. I was gonna pull that all up, but
I was pretty sure that Delaware.
let's see. We did Delaware. We did Listed. We did Paint and Rain.
Listed was after Delaware.
What-
Painting the Rain was after.
Yeah, I know.
Listed.
Was there? What did y'all do before Delaware?
Apartment L, which was
Yeah, I
in
wasn't,
California.
okay. Then no, okay.
Delaware
then I guess
was partial.
Delaware was. Wow, that's
Because
funny. I guess that
the
was.
one-
Wow.
I was the one who was like, dude, Robert will do anything. I was like, he's so, because you and I had already
Yeah,
worked
it already
together,
kind of worked.
and we had sat around and talked like we are now, and like where the conversations go and stuff. Like we played off each other, so I knew like everyone that was involved in that. Like I knew what they would be good at and stuff, and I mean, like that's my favorite thing that we did, just because everyone had free reign.
Oh, I love Delaware. What I like about Delaware is I'm very open. I'll do whatever whatever the camera wants, whatever somebody wants me to do. And what I liked about Delaware is I don't remember. I think originally I was gonna just be one of the characters of the house. Like, what the heck's going on? And so for like half the film, I act that way until like I'm your dealer, and then like we had to change everything. So I know like a lot of my footage got dumped, which is okay because now it finally gave me like a solid idea of where to go and how to act. Because now I know why you're having some problems. Why don't you come on over here and help you fix that problem?
Yeah, no, it was everything about that was so fun. Just everyone showing up, doing whatever. Like the whole everyone walking into a scene and improvising with.
I remember doing sword
minimal
fighting out in
direction.
the yard with I think it was with Haley, and
Oh.
we were sword fighting out in the yard and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I love that. I know. If anybody watches that movie and stuff like that, it's available on YouTube.
It's actually called "We'll Always Have Delaware."
Yeah, and I love it. I really do. It's definitely one of my top favorite ones that I've done, especially with y'all. Like I love that the like you said, the improv. And it seems like it's so natural, but you and me talked about this. There's so much homework that goes into even being natural sometimes because you know the characters, and then you sit down and kind of come up with the concept of what you could do for it. Next.
I honestly think the reason Delaware worked so well is I think we caught everybody off guard and they didn't have time to think about it. Like we just got you guys in the scenes. Remember the scene where you came in and met Dallas as the director? He was sitting on the couch and stuff. And I just like ushered you in and there was quick
Oh yeah, that's right.
interaction.
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you took control of the scene. I just came in. Hi, like I pretty much acted like me just for a second, and then you like shoved me out, so it worked out great.
And that's what I think the entire thing was kind of like that. And I mean, we didn't even really talk much about what needed to go on, like me and Dallas. We just kind of on the same page anyway, but like it was just like, dude, let's just see what happens. Like, and we've done several films like that, and that's how a lot of things go. I mean, this right now is that same way. And like Caden and I did a channel called Outdoor Smarts.
Yes.
And when we did that stuff, it was pretty much the same way. I'd be like, all right, dude, like we need to do this. And it was pretty much just, all right, this is where we need to get from point A to B. And then he would go
I remember
do his
Caden
thing.
on the roof dressed as Santa Claus on the barn roof. Was that Caden?
That was
Was it-
the holiday thing we did that you did.
Was
with
that
us.
okay? That's funny. Well, that's funny.
Which
Too many drugs over the years.
honestly, that should have been part of Outdoor Smarts. At the time, I hadn't even started Outdoor Smarts.
Yeah, because I
did
remember that came out
before.
afterwards.
Yeah, and really, the character that he was in the holiday thing was basically the character he was in Outdoor Smarts, and it was just all together and stuff. But
You ever thought about going back and maybe reapproaching Outdoor Smarts, maybe doing another series or a run or maybe maybe a feature or something?
so here is the overall story arc of Outdoor Smarts. This is the whole reason I started it.
This is funny. If you're gonna tell me there's some kind of connecting character, I never noticed, and so like not only is that really crappy on my part, but I'm gonna have to go back through and rewatch them if there's
No.
something goes on with the character. Okay.
Okay, so there's 3 seasons are listed for Outdoor Smarts. Season 1, I filmed all of it on a iPhone 7, and I used iPhone 5s for audio devices. Season 2 is all shot on an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and I used a different audio device. I think I had the Rode. That's right, I had the Rode mics at that time, and just ran the audio into the iPhone. Season 3 is only 1 episode because Caden was also growing up too, and I knew it was going to be a limited thing because the older you get, you have to get a job and everything, and then life gets in the way, all that. But the very last thing I filmed was shot on the Sony A7S III with the Rode mics and stuff, and I used a drone and different things. And the entire point of Outdoor Smarts was each season to look and sound better than the one before, to show the progression that we had made throughout the years.
Honestly, that's pretty smart
And
cool too.
it was also just me like riffing, like coming up with an idea and being like, okay, we'll shoot this. And then Caden being my brother, like half the time it's like me and Dallas. We don't really got to say much to each other. We just have that instinct of what needs to be done. And so it was really easy to shoot because I could just explain something to him just a little bit and he got it. So it was very fun. But yeah, the entire thing was basically, if anyone ever went back, like if I ever did anything worthwhile and people went back and watched the first things that I did, they would be able to see the progression. And like that's something about the middle ground that like, dude, you can't even really talk to Dallas about it. Like he just
Because
he's
I get
like-
no, I get it.
Okay, so
But I happen to personally, I guess because that's how I met y'all. Like I happen to like that one, and I love the homeless one.
No Home Neighbors.
Yeah, No Home Neighbors.
Oh,
I
my
love
God.
that one, and I was talking to Angela about that. Like I just. When she comes out, we're just camping, but it's the home.
Yeah.
I don't know. I crack up every time I think about it. Like,
Oh, dude,
I love that.
was so
because that was
fun.
what Bob's life is. Because Bob is homeless, living in the box, and so when y'all did that, I'm like, oh my God, they're doing what I want to do, and so I love that one.
But with the middle ground, I understand Dallas's point because it was the first thing we ever did. I'm proud of it because he came up with a concept, an idea. We overcame every obstacle that was thrown at us. He had to do a rewrite because some of the people that we got to play some of the characters, one dude showed up one day and filmed with us, and then we could not get a hold of him again. And he was a very key character. So Dallas had to rewrite the script like overnight, and we had to go a different direction. But everything that happened in that very first film, we got a completed project.
Well, that's what I was about to say. They actually, I think the statistics says it's only 2% of filmmakers actually finish their work and actually make movies. That's some raw talk.
And I mean,
And-
to me, honestly,
Yeah, I'm saying I love that y'all finished it. That's why I try to encourage other filmmakers that I know that I work with. Even if their stuff is not like that great, you finished something.
Yeah.
Be proud of that. It is what it is. Go to the next one because the more practice you get, the better they get. Because by the time we got to I love listening too. That was my other favorite one, which was very much like Delaware. I got to run around the streets in my underwear. I love that I was like the
always a
running
good
guy
time.
just popping out. Yeah, great time. It's like you need a life preserver, But yeah, I love Painting the Rain. You could tell a huge difference between when working on that compared to even Delaware and
Yeah, I mean, it's
or middle ground.
two different genres too.
Yes.
You get drama to comedy and stuff, which is something else that I really like. If you watch the things we have done, there is a pretty big difference between the comedy and drama. Like, I like the range, like instead of us doing nothing against people that do like horror films and stuff, but a lot of people, that's all they do.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. Yeah,
Doing the comedy, the drama, the action, which action is something that I want to do a good action film, but it's hard to get people on board in this area to do it, like, because a lot of people, like doing the horror and stuff like that, or slasher.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I know one of the reasons why slasher, especially for the newcomers, you don't have to have a budget, you don't have to have a name talent, and you can land distribution and make money off of it. And it's literally a simple formula: blood, boobs, and guts, and you got a horror movie. And there's a lot of them that pretty much make a career of just staying, the same slasher film over and over and over. The problem is it saturates the market, and they all look the same. Like it's not like in the 80s, like Freddy is so different from Jason, and even Michael Myers from Ghostface. And not trying to slam anything about some of the independent filmmakers, but a lot of them, they're all the same: blue jeans and a black hoodie, and that's your killer. And I don't want to say names.
Also,
I don't want to say names. Yeah, I totally get that. But they never rise above that level. They don't. They just keep making the same movie over and over and over. And that's all I guess I have to say about that. I wish that they would kind of progress. But there's, like I said, there is a reason why they start that way.
To me, it seems like also like your level of creativity.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people pretty much make the same thing and package it. I mean, Hollywood does it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
They make the same thing, package it in a different package, and it's like, at this point, nothing's supposed to be new or whatever. But, I mean, you look at more independent filmmakers and people like you, myself, for Dallas, and if you take the time to watch the stuff, there's a whole lot more ideas out there than what you realize. People coming up with new concepts, like even some Oscar winners. It's totally different concepts than, like the movies you see all the time. So people can come up with different things. I think it's a lot to do with your influences, and I mean, this isn't for everybody, there's levels of creativity, and it's cool, I guess, to back people if they want to get into something, but it's also like, I think everything about this industry is so fake, and there's so many lies in society anyway, that sometimes people should just not be trying this stuff, and no one tells them that. Everybody's like, "Oh, good job." Like
It's funny. It's funny because I was raised the opposite. I was told flat out many, many, many times, like, this is not a real thing.
Well, yeah, like people in your small town.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very much so.
Like, living in LA and doing stuff out there, they're just trying to make money off of people's dreams.
Oh yeah.
Like, you can have zero talent.
Yes.
I mean, Nashville, Atlanta, same thing.
Nashville, same thing. Yeah, I'm not going to say the name of like an agent that I was hooking up with, and she flat out was like,
you did hooking up with.
Well, yeah. Had to get them parts somehow, guys.
No wonder you're not with her anymore.
Yeah,
she's like, you can't act your way out my bed.
Oh, the cat's out of the bag. Now you know.
At least something got out of that.
That's right. I was like, got something good out of the whole relationship. But no, she was like that. Like, just would suck her off of people's dreams, And that's. I think I've talked about that maybe in some other podcasts. I know I've talked to some of my friends about that. But that's one of the reasons why, like, I have a hard time like backing and helping some people as far as like a professional level, because like I could help be building people's resume and build their reels and do their headshots and stuff like that. But one of the reasons why I don't really care to do that too much is because I've seen too many like
people just
scam. It's like it's like no, I'll help you out. Pay me $500 for this headshot. Do this. It's like you don't have to do that anymore.
And
like,
dude,
that's
an industry in California. That's what's funny. I've listened to every one of your podcasts, and like, oh, so this is really funny because the only thing I did in Kentucky before I moved to California, I did some background work for some people that was making films in Madisonville, Kentucky at one point. And that was like all that I knew of this area. I knew I wanted to do this stuff and everything, but then I went to Murray State, and there I did like, I was required to do like their acting classes and stuff, which is funny. By the time I went to Murray State, I had already worked with an acting coach, like one-on-one and stuff. And when I went to Murray, like everything that they were teaching in the classes, he had already had me doing. Like every acting coach, their books and stuff, I had already read. So like all the information being given to me was being regurgitated. Plus I had already like worked professionally. So I don't even consider anything at Murray State as like, well, I take that back. The dialects class is what I felt that I learned how to do different like accents and stuff, because there's a whole language of writing stuff out and seeing it to where you can then speak it. But anyways, other than that, like Murray State, as far as like acting stuff, I don't feel that I learned anything about the industry. I don't feel I learned anything. When we went to California and I just went out there and started doing stuff, that's where I feel that I really learned about the industry. And what was so funny about learning out there and coming back, not really funny, but a shock to me. So in California, it's a competition. It is. Like you go to auditions, you go to the audition room, you're not talking to anybody because
yeah, I remember the very first. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I mean,
well, you are.
Yeah, okay.
Sarcasm.
Yeah, sarcasm. Brought to you by
Sarcasm.
But no, I remember Adamsville was doing a horror movie about the witch's ghost or whatever up there, and this is like '07, something like that. So like there was like no film like really, and so those people like flying in to come for auditions. And I remember going into audition, it was like a huge cow call. It was like 30, 40 people. Everybody looked 100% the same. Like I guess I kind of thought like I had something going until I walked in the room. I'm like, whoa, yeah, and yeah, it's like you said, everybody like they're stuck in their zone. Nobody talks to each other.
Because
Nothing
there's
like that,
so many
like,
people going for the same part. This is how it was out there. And then whenever I moved back and started going to Nashville for auditions and stuff, especially independent films, I would go into the room. Everybody's just talking and joking around, and I'm like, what? Like it was such a shock to me because also I come from like a sports background, like very competitive. And like on a certain level, acting and filmmaking is very competitive. And it's like you want to see people succeed, but dude, if there's one script and it's you and me trying to like make that and earn like $1 million, I don't care who you are. Like we can hang out right now, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Outside of that. And so, yeah, that was a big shock to me. And like when I hear people talking about helping each other out and stuff, especially people that's on like more a higher playing field than we are on this side of the country, I'm kind of like, is that truth? Are you really trying to help, or are you making money off these people's dreams?
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people. I'm always interested in why people move from California to this side or the area or Nashville or whatever. A lot of people went to California to be actors and stuff, come back and start acting classes and everything, just making money, and they're producing their own films. So, they're like telling everybody, oh, I can get you in this, I can help you. But it's really like, it's so fake. And like that got me too in California, is how fake everything is and everybody. And I'm like, why can't we just be real about this? Like, and also people making things out to be so much bigger than what they are. Like every film me and Dallas has done, and people's like, oh, is it going to theaters? Like, are you going to do this and this? And even people in it being like, oh, this is a great film. Like, I think this is really going to blow up. And I'm like, dude, this might end up on YouTube. Like, what are you talking about? Nobody knows who we are. Like, what else are we going to do with it? And I don't know. It's the whole fakeness to the industry that really gets me and stuff. And I don't mind networking and like being around people and stuff. But a lot of times when I go to sets, especially if I'm acting, like I really don't talk to people that much. I'm more there in character and just, it's a job to me, you know?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say there's also, and you've listened to the podcast, and you're also a professional. Like, yeah, it is a job.
I'm
And,
very
well,
professional.
yeah,
Sorry, kind of.
there you go.
Our sponsor's getting thrown all around this
Yeah.
place today.
No, but there is kind of like some homework and research that it takes sometimes to develop a character and to play with it and stuff like that. And so I have found it very distracting before, especially when I had like a more meatier role, like, and I had a lot of lines and stuff like that. And I'm still trying to be friendly and chat and hey, but I'm like over there pretty much in the corner, like going over the lines and my scene and what I'm, I guess my motivation and all that kind of stuff. Like, like I'm in my zone. And so if somebody's over there chatting and talking to me, like, I want to be nice, I want to say hi, but at the same time, like, I get it why, like in the bigger industry, in the they come off as rude because, like, just get the heck away from me. I'll be in my trailer because I just need my, my moment, my zone. So I do get that.
And like, again, coming from a sports background, the way that I approached filmmaking, and I still do when I do stuff and everything, like when you showed up here, like I said stuff to you, but I was very focused on getting things set up and everything. And like working with other people, I feel like it's like a baseball team. Like there's players in their positions, but every other player if every player knows every position and knows what's expected out of a player, and that player is not accomplishing their task, someone else can back them up. If everyone knows about all of it, it makes the whole process easier. And like when you show up and you have a bunch of people just talking and like, oh, we're on a movie, oh, we're gonna be in a movie, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, cool, but there's a lot more that goes into it than you just showing up and being on camera. Like if you
especially
worked
from behind, especially
if you
crew
worked
size, like there's
behind the camera,
hours just to set up for somebody. Like I have, like you spend like almost all day like setting up a scene, getting everything together, the behind the scenes, the crew. Then that's why the crew call is way earlier, and then the actor or whoever the talent can come in, and then they get to hang out, laugh, joke, eat, show up on set for a couple hours, and they can leave.
And
now
then
we
the
still get crew's still there,
Yeah.
and we got to tear down, put away, fix whatever we all that stuff. That's not to
part of
mention
the reason too on a set that I'm not just like cutting up and everything, because I know that there's more than just my little part acting, and it is distracting. Like if you got a group of people talking while like the director is trying to like converse with the cameraman or the audio person or whatever, like having a group of people talking is very distracting, and it's like, I think it's also a lot to do in the independent realm where people don't exactly understand everything about filmmaking. I'm not saying I'll understand everything, but being on both sides of the camera and working
Well, I think that helps a
every
lot
position,
too, because same for me. Like I wanted to be an actor first, which is what led me into the behind the scenes, because nobody was making my movie or the movie I wanted, so I had to make it so I could get the part that I wanted. And that's a good advice for anybody to take, is build your own content. They all talk about it. Make your own content, produce your own stuff. But that's when you start learning, like what you're good and bad at. But also that's when I really started seeing like the difference, like behind the scenes and
the entire machine.
Yeah.
Like not just one part of it, and that also helps people to understand you can't just show up and this stuff happens, like a lot of people think. But I did want to say real quick, like on the whole showing up and not saying anything, just being there. So independent film is not the only thing I've done. When we're in California, I got to go to Studio City several times. Like I got to do like pilots background and stuff like that. So I haven't just been on the small sets. Even there, like they put everybody. Sometimes they would put everybody in a room and people would be talking and stuff. But a lot of times, this happened to me more than being put in a room with people. They would take their background actors and have them setting behind the scene to get ready to go on to be filmed and stuff. So you were setting there for like 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, and you could not say a word, because you've got people like a thin wall and they're filming on the other side of it and stuff. And like, I don't think people on independent film sometimes understand what all gets picked up on a camera.
Oh, that drives me crazy.
Like,
I'm so bad at it because
silence.
Yeah, because I've learned that. I guess I learned that early on how powerful the microphones are. I remember even on the set. Let's just say Nashville. I remember on the set of Nashville, I brought a friend of mine over, and I got him. He was helping me like be a background and stuff like that. Anyway, and then he's like way off in the distance, like trying to talk and laugh, and I'm like, man, they can hear everything you're saying, dude. And like all of it. Because he was like kind of making fun of some of the gaffers and stuff like that. Like, hey, look at Gigantos. And I'm like stepping away from him because I was like, I don't want to be associated with this guy at all.
It's also like they caught that audio too.
Yeah, no, I was like, they can hear everything you're saying, and I'm not a part of you. like scooting over. It's like, you don't say stuff like that. Like privately, I can joke with you all day long, but I was like, you realize, and I've just I've seen that so many times. Like that's probably my biggest pet peeve is we're on set, quiet on the set. And then you have somebody in the corner having a conversation, and it's like I'm just sitting there all the time, like, do you not know that?
Well, there was one
set. So hard.
There was one set that I was on, and they had us, the lead characters, they had us walled up. But like when we would go, we were filming in a house. It was upstairs and downstairs, and like when we would go downstairs, they would leave our mics and stuff on, and I wasn't thinking anything about it, that like. The dude running audio could still hear and stuff. And like while we were downstairs and they were setting up for another scene, like I just started talking to someone like I do with you, and we got onto random subjects, and I was talking about how like we could take a red Solo cup, and I was like, dude, I swear if you set it like 10 foot from me, I can piss in it. And I was like, I'll strain so hard though I'll probably like shit myself and like diarrhea all down my leg. And when we went back upstairs, everybody was just like looking at me. And I was like, oh yeah.
Everything you could, yep.
Dude, that's a totally made up story.
Is it?
Yeah. I was just getting really bored sitting here. I had to do something to entertain myself.
No, okay, well, I believe it.
I mean,
I'm glad you're so bored with the shows.
Well, I came on here to talk about acting and stuff. I figured I needed to give you a bit of it.
There you go.
Can see that
I believed it, so therefore, good acting. Good acting.
You also thought me and Dallas was filmmakers. we're just like attention junkies. It's like, hey, we got a camera. Let us film you. I do know some people like that too.
No, I know.
They just like the attention of having a camera and stuff, and it's like, oh man, do something real.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna name any names, but I'm working with a fella that likes he spends more time getting pictures of himself with his camera than actually filming anything on set. Make sure you get behind the scenes. I was like, well, we haven't shot anything. It's setting everything up. That's great, but it's been 5 hours, man. People are hungry and ready to start, So, but all right. So, what was the bug that made you want to start acting? Like, let's start that. You're talking about acting, so let's what made you want to get in this industry, especially around here, because you're from Kentucky and stuff like that. That's not. I want to say it's not normal because I'm that way. I was from a small town. It was considered super not normal. So, what made you want to do this?
Okay, is it okay or?
Is it supposed to have a red outline around it when it's filming?
Yeah.
I ain't doing nothing.
Oh. Is yours still rolling?
Yeah, that one is.
And that
one is, yeah.
Hit the record button again.
Now it's gone.
I wonder if I ever started that.
I don't know. I didn't notice the red light blinking or not. I don't.
I mean, we're kind of set though. Anyway, I can just do the back and forth if I wasn't rolling, but.
Oh, I think it was going. I think it just cut out after.
Well, yeah, it might be like the 9 and just cut out after a certain time. Thanks, Aiden. That's what you're supposed to be watching for. No.
He's too
I was looking at it though.
I watched it cut off. I mean, it's all. I'll let y'all talk for an hour with it off, but it's okay.
All right. I mean, we'll just go from here because.
That's fine.
Yeah, even if it cut off, we can just do the back and forth.
But no, both of them are still.
Okay. Then, all right, you just asked me what gave me the bug. Yeah. It wasn't. I'm trying to think back. So my mom, and this is a story that I know a lot of people have because I've listened to your podcast and I've listened to a lot of other people. So from a very young age, my mom had me in like church plays. I homeschooled. She would have me in homeschool plays and stuff. Um, Being homeschooled, me and my sister had to entertain ourselves a lot. So when we got our schoolwork done, we were constantly making stuff up. Like I remember I used to want to join the military and stuff. So there was a lot of days, me, my sister, my cousins, we would like sit in the living room and play like we were in a military base, like doing stuff, or like we were forced to go to church. So we would like have church services. Just everything was like pretend and make believe, inside, outside. Because I grew up like you, playing with sticks and out in the woods, running around. And it wasn't. It's like it was always there from the very beginning that I just felt like I wanted to do it in front of people or not in front of people. I just wanted to act, like create.
I think that's how it was for me, pretty much. Like it's always been there. It's something I've always wanted to do. I just didn't have a name for it. It was just me.
And it was also, it wasn't that I ever cared about like an audience. It's like I was going to do this regardless. I mean, I still am. Like we're recording this, and I might be the only one that goes back and watches it. But you know what? I'm doing it like regardless. And it's always been like that. That I feel like people are watching. So I'm going to do something, whether or not another real person's watching or not. And I'm trying to think of where. So as I got older, what's really weird is as a child and throughout my teens, dude, I would get so nervous, like in plays and stuff. I didn't necessarily even want to do it. I hated getting up in front of people. But what it was, because I know this just from getting older and figuring things out, going back, I wasn't separating myself from a character. I didn't know how to do that. I was too young to understand like, oh, this isn't me that they're watching. I was like up in front of people like, oh no, if I do something they're laughing at me. It wasn't until I really got into music in my teenage years and I started a band when I was like 19. And the very first show we played, I was about 20, I think I was 21 years old. Our very first show, I had all the pre-show jitters. And the moment my foot stepped on the stage and people were like cheering for us and stuff, just because, it was a lot of our lead singer's friends and things like that. But they were excited to see us. And from the moment we stepped on stage, it was like, dude, this is what I'm meant to do, like entertain. And then eventually I transitioned from music, the acting and stuff. But honestly, the acting was there from the beginning because we were like a punk band. So my whole persona was like punk rock and everything, even if I necessarily wasn't. I took it a little too far because I lived punk rock in my daily life, and it was like, I got into some trouble and things. So like the whole method thing, like maybe should not have taken it as far as I did when I was younger. But yeah, then as I got more into the acting and stuff and the separation of me and a character, I felt normal in a character. And then like when I'm not a character, I'm just like, man, life is boring.
Oh, yes. No, I have that same problem. I know I've used this quote several times, but it's the in-between times I find them as unbearable. I'm more myself when I'm pretending to be somebody else than I am when I'm not.
Yeah.
It's I know it sounds confusing to some people, but go ahead.
Were you molested as a child?
Well, we're getting into some deep stuff, but yes, actually I was.
So was I.
Okay.
And a lot of my whole acting thing and stuff, things that I figured out about myself, I think kind of stem from that too. And I'm not like, okay, what happened to me? I guess in every way, someone's traumatized in a way. I don't sit around and cry about it
Yeah.
and stuff. I know some people that it affected way worse than me. But as I got older, like, the acting coach I was telling you about and stuff, a lot of things went on there that I think if I had not been molested, I would not have allowed to happen. And I would not have been able to separate things in my mind to be a totally different person. And it's like, that's where, like, the whole acting thing, I was like, oh my God, I can be a totally different person. I can do things so removed from myself. And I loved it. Like, the farther I could go with the character and stuff. And like, that's when things started to click more about like character work and stuff. And I know, like, this was in my 20s and stuff that this all happened. And within the past 15 years, it's so crazy, man. Like, things that you hear about people talk about that went on in Hollywood with people like using their power and all this stuff, and like, oh, I'll get you like a role and everything, just to like abuse people like sexually and stuff, is what took place to me in Beaver Dam, Kentucky, with someone who had been to California. And like, now that I'm in my 40s and I think about it when it was going on, it's like, dude, that was actually the time in the era that stuff was going on. And it's like, as sad as it is that stuff happens, I cannot sit here and say I hate what happened to me, because it also gave me what I believe is a very powerful tool in art. That, messed up or not, oh, I'm not making this story up.
No, I'm listening. So yeah, I'm following through. It's not that I've completely erased it from my mind, but I know it shaped me into who I am. I guess also because I was raised so dirt poor, and I have gone through a lot. Like, I've been pretty much on my own and homeless since like 16. Just it was just so many different things has happened that I guess I have like a really tough shell. Like, I am a child of myself of the 80s. I'm like, stop being a pussy, just get up, do your shit, and then if sometimes bad things happen, but grow a backbone, just go with it.
Like, how old were you?
I was 8.
Dude, that, like,
yeah.
My first was like around 5, but it like was going on from like the age of 5 to about 10 or 11, like very young, And I was actually watching Theo Vaughn and Dax Shepard on Theo's podcast just talk about, like, Dax was talking about, he has a 9-year-old daughter, and by the time he was 9 years old, the things that had happened to him, and then looking at his daughter and thinking about, like, dude, no child should have that happen. And I don't know if you've ever thought about it. I've never thought about, like, oh, this shouldn't have happened to me. I think if I ever hear about anything going on with the child or something, like, it pisses me off, because I don't believe it should go on. But like, in my mind, I never was like, oh, this, it happened, I dealt with it.
Yeah, see, that's the same thing with me. Like, it happened, I dealt with it. I have such a hard disconnect with, I guess you want to say, today's generation / just people in general. Like, I don't know. I've met grown ass people who are in their 40s that seem like they can't get over when something bad happens in their life. And my very first thought is like, man, America suffers from first world problems really bad. It also desensitizes me too, because like, I've gone through so much crap. Like, we went to the Dominican Republic and everybody was like, oh my God, there's poor people. They're living in cardboard houses and sheds and stuff like that. Man, they had like phones. They had, like, wearing nice. They had nicer clothes than I did. I don't feel bad for them. I mean, it sucks. It's a bad situation. But I lived in Tent City in Nashville. Like I lived in garbage. I have eaten out of trash cans more than once. And here, like not only is the church, like not just our church, but lots of churches throughout the entire year are giving them food and giving them clothes, and because poor sad people. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they do need help, but at the same time, like I didn't have no help, and look how I turned out. Sarcasm for today's episode. But
It's like it's like, why are we going outside our own backyard doing so much when it's right out our back door?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I also, I don't know if you could consider me homeless. I lived in my car a couple of times. I had a car.
Well, I guess I consider that because for the longest part of my homelessness, it was in a car. So
Yeah.
I mean, that I consider that, but
I wasn't cardboard poor. I wasn't in the cardboard box. And dude, like being in LA, like I saw the home, like I've been to Tent City in LA and stuff, and like, I was never there. But the point I had gotten to, I also got out of it. I didn't. And some people want to stay in that, and some people will hold signs on the corner, and then they go get in their BMW and drive.
Oh yeah, see that's another thing. Like I have like I said, I'm a little desensitized. I can't feel bad for because of the bad eggs.
Yeah.
Like there's people I was watching. This is many years ago, back when Dateline, like with Barbara Walters and Walter Cronkite. But it's like they were doing an interview with this guy. And he's like, "No, I make like $400 a day," and he panhandles. He acts homeless, and then drove off in like a BMW to his nice ass house. And I was like, man.
I remember watching where like groups of people would get a house together, like a big house, and they would all go out and panhandle. Then they'd party all night.
Yep, and see,
it's like, what?
I know, and so I know there are people out there who are hurting. I know, but it does make me automatically like I ain't giving you my quarter, I ain't giving you my dollar. I mean, I know you have your sign. I feel bad for you, but at the same time, like I don't know if you're real. I don't know if you're fake. And to be honest, man, I'm right in the middle of it too. So now if I, it's different. Like when you're in tent city, like the guy next in the tent to you, is also going through it. It's different. And so, but a stranger walks up to you on the street asking for $1, is
And so and I mean, that's here and there. Now, as far as the filmmaking aspect, it's great for material.
Oh yeah,
I got a lot of material for No Home Neighbors. And dude, we were supposed to do so many more episodes of that. We just never got around to it.
Well, I really, like I said, that was the idea for Bob's Life, and I wanted it to be an actual series, and the main characters were going to be homeless in like every episode.
I do want to ask you a question though, if you picked up on this in No Home Neighbors, because I'm guessing you watched it more than once, maybe.
I did, but it's been a while. Like, because
All right.
I don't remember when it came out, and I know I watched it several times, but that was then, so it's been like.
So what's funny is, the one kid is out there begging and stuff, and then we see him go into a place, and at the end, Angela's like, "Oh, he's a faker," or whatever. What's funny about that is her character actually had a house and everything. She went and
Well, I remember it was like by choice because she just didn't want to go home.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm just not gonna.
It's so funny that she was pissed at somebody else being a fake homeless person when she was like, that was my favorite part about that. It's like, me and Dallas were actually homeless. We had a reason to be like, oh, this dude's out here getting our money. But then she's just like so delusional. She's like, it's like, dude, you're not even homeless. That was my favorite part about that.
Yeah, I wish y'all would have done some more episodes because I don't know, because of my past and stuff like that, I fall towards stuff like that. I love that kind of stuff,
No, I thought that was fine too, but I just wondered if you ever picked up, or if people ever picked up on that part that like this little girl stays so drunk all the time. She doesn't even realize she could just go home.
Well, as far as my podcast, I guess the only thing else, because normally it's about an hour or so, and I try to keep things in some kind of order. And I think I've asked you pretty much about some of the movies and stuff that you've done. Like I said, I know, like, I love Middle Ground, I love The Homeless One and stuff like that. You want to talk about Listed real quick? I was going to ask you for advice for other people. But actually, like, talk about Listed. Like, where did you come up with Listed? I love doing Listed. So.
All right. Listed was Dallas's idea because for the longest time, that, like, he's done the eBay thing and stuff, and he's like on Craigslist, like, you know, back before Craigslist got such a bad rep, it was very legit, you know, going, and even
Yeah,
Facebook,
I was gonna say,
like,
even Tony
buying
was talking
stuff.
about how he found his first big gigs and
Yeah.
stuff like that was through, you know, you wouldn't do that today, but
and also
you know, like back in
Facebook
time.
Marketplace, you know, just Dallas going to all these places and some of the stories that he has of the people he meets and stuff, and it's like, you never know who you're going to meet when you go to a random stranger's house and everything. And they came from, it's an idea that came from like him living it. And I mean, even me, like doing stuff on Marketplace and stuff, sometimes you meet people and you're just like, where is their mind? Like, you know, like, how are you making it day to day? And that's what it was from. And then, you know, also just us throwing in our own twist of things and stuff, like with your character, like showing up in your character basically being like the mom and the
And
son.
that's that's what I loved about that. It's like, ooh, cameras, because that was all ad lib too, you know. And so,
it's
like,
like-
hey, you mind dressing up in a dress? Okay.
It's like your character was so just a person that he could have been.
Well,
serial
yeah,
killer
because
for
he was
all we
wanting
knew.
y'all in the door is what it was. Like that was my motivation. His character, he wanted to get y'all behind the building. Is all I kept thinking, because I knew the next
it's
scene.
like-
Yeah, I knew the next scene.
You had
You know, was
something
to
in
get
your
y'all
pants.
with with the life preservers.
Yeah.
And
like
walking out there with the
life
overalls. Yeah,
preservers.
yeah. Walking out there with the overalls and the heart on, you know. So I knew that was coming up. So my motivation for even the mom was get them back to the back of the house.
Yeah.
So it's like, now you want to come inside? Ooh, what's going on? I'm down for cameras. And so, you know, come on, pretty boy.
But it was a great ending.
Hey, come on back here. I don't remember what the line was, but like it was like, hey, Greg, get over here.
But it was a great ending for your character because you did find love.
I don't remember that. I do. That's
you,
funny. I don't
you
remember.
with the dude with the axe. You and him met at the very end of the movie
That's so funny.
because
I
you
don't
were
remember
still
that.
after us.
Yeah, I remember
And the guy
chasing
with-
y'all. Like that was also my favorite funny part. Is like it was like a running gag because like even though I wasn't supposed to be in like that scene, like I was thinking specifically of the alleyway, and like y'all are running through the alleyway, and he has that gun that shoots up money, and I just pop out of the blue, life preservers, come here, get your life preservers.
It's like you were like a bear in heat. He wasn't taking no for an answer. But yeah, at the very end of the movie, you end up, I mean, not to give the movie away if anyone was ever going to watch it, but
Well, it's old enough now.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
like you and the axe dude ended up walking off hand in hand.
I don't remember that at all. Who was the axe guy? Like who was the actor? for that?
Alan Walters. The dude that was also in Lost in Time. He was...
That's so funny. I don't remember that. I'm gonna have to go
Probably
back.
blocked it out of
Yeah,
your-
it's just
He said, he was
so
like,
much trauma. I don't know.
man, our films can be traumatic, I guess. Put you in
That's
a
what it is.
dress.
And I say voluntarily though, so it wasn't a big deal. But that's funny. I don't remember that at all. That's
What we made you do in Delaware.
crazy. Well, I didn't have to do it. I just stood there. I mean, I dropped my pants, but
What you did to Charlie.
I remember you were Charlie, right? Wait, were you Charlie?
I mean, no, I was Marty. Sorry,
Yeah, okay,
what
yeah,
you
yeah.
did to Marty out by the
Yeah,
building.
yeah. No, I knew that, but you were going on your knees, from what I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't a big deal for me. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Come on, man. You want that money? You know what you gotta do.
Okay, so now that gives me a totally different view of your character.
Yeah, because I was the drug dealer. I was like, I knew what I wanted, and I was getting.
But I thought he was a
mine.
heroin drug dealer.
No, he's getting his in the story. It didn't matter, guy, girl.
Yeah, I didn't know he's a revolving door.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
That's how I looked at that. Like,
After all these years. You want to know something funny about like that scene? Like in the moment, and this was a conscious decision for my character, and this is like where I go with the character and stuff. So you remember I spit.
yeah.
Like I thought about swallowing, but then I was like, no, man, my true love is Charlie. That's the only person I'm swallowing for. And like, you know,
That's funny.
That's character.
Pretty. Yeah, I was gonna say pretty depth for a shot in the movie, but it worked. It was good. I loved it.
It's stupid, ridiculous. But man, that's the type of stuff that I like. And I mean, like with this whole imp art thing, like it's like I can be as silly and ridiculous as I want, and it's like I've got control of,
Yeah.
Something else about the independent like industry that I love is creative control.
Yes.
And that, like, Dallas and I had talked about this from the beginning, like even trying to get things picked up and stuff. It's like, man, YouTube is so great for independent filmmakers or anyone wanting to create content because you have control. No one's telling you no. You could make something that's terrible, which we all do, that no one cares about, but that's still like your thoughts, your ideas. And you also never know what's going to hit on social media.
That's true too.
Some of the stuff that Caden shows me, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't think I was molested that much.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm not a TikTok guy. I hate TikTok.
Yeah,
I just hate the
TikTok. You're gonna die before too much.
Oh yeah, yes. No, but I mean, I am not a TikTok fan. I don't like YouTube Shorts.
You
I don't know.
You don't like being like force fed what you should know about society and like
I guess
where your brain should be when you go out and talk to people.
I guess it's what it is. I guess it's
like,
resistance, because I don't need any of that stuff.
You don't want to know 100 different dances for no reason.
Oh my god, I hate those. Like I can't stand any of that kind of stuff.
Robert,
everyone's on. Yeah, no, I know. Yes, I am showing my age. Oh my god, true story. My son the other day sent me $50 on it's not even Cash App, but what the hell was it? It was Apple Pay or something like that. I don't know. He sent it to me through a text. I was like, you still owe me $50, dude. He's like, well, I'll send it to you. I was like, I don't got. I'm like, I need cash in my hand.
Text you, like an old school handwritten I owe you.
But he sent me the money through the phone. I was like, well, when am I supposed to? No, it's Apple Pay is through your wallet. You can do it. Like if you have iPhone.
Yeah.
You can automatically send money through iPhone to iPhone or something like that. And I didn't know that. He's like, no, it goes straight to your wallet. What the hell are you talking? Like I was like Venmo? And I just couldn't get the concept. And so finally he kind of like breaks it down. He's like, no, Dad, I sent it to your wallet. And I got so pissed and frustrated. Like, this is how I know I'm old. And I even said this, I can show you the text. Like, I know I'm old because I got so pissed trying to transfer the money to my card. And he's like, you can just take your phone and wait. I don't want to leave my phone. I want my money on my card now. And I was getting so frustrated. He's like, just hit the menu. I don't see a menu.
Dude, like,
so
serious note for real. So I am about to start working on a project. And I've only talked to like 3 people about this. And so, like, I was going to talk to you about this off camera, but I mean, it'd be cool.
No, say we can stop the episode now, or we can keep it going. It doesn't matter, but I'm totally down for
like
whatever.
Anybody that wants to get in on it. Like, I've already talked to people in California. Have you ever heard of a guy named John Butler?
Was he the porn star?
I know that's John Holmes.
Okay. Well, no, I
He's
know John Holmes. John Butler. That name sounds familiar.
He did the Fence trilogy.
Oh, then probably not.
It's all independent stuff. Anyways, like there is a budget to it and everything. And I was gonna ask you if you wanted like to work on it, like.
Dude, yeah, you don't even have to ask. Like other than I forgot about that. So that's probably
your titty? You forgot about your titty?
Ooh, yeah.
I've been staring at him the whole time. I haven't forgot about him.
Yeah, no, it just started to itch. I went to go scratch and realized that's the microphone, like the tape.
Anyway, I made all that stuff up again.
Yeah,
I'm not working on anything.
Oh, well then screw you then. No, but I was saying you don't even have to ask me. Like the only apprehension would be schedule.
No, you were talking about being older and not understanding things. I was going to try to scam you out some money, but I thought you did.
Well, now you aren't going to get anything. You aren't going to get anything. Did you see that car I drove up in? It's covered in duct tape. It's literally up.
I know you brought your house in here with your clothes in it.
Yeah, I was going to say suitcase. Who needs that? I have a trash bag. I literally like pulled everything out of the dryer and just threw it in the trash bag. Because that's how I've lived for so long. I used to I had this girlfriend. It'd drive her nuts because she's like, you live like a. No, I'm.
You had a girlfriend?
I had it once. So, but it frustrated her because. Brought to you by.
It's so hard to tell.
No, but yeah, she would get so frustrated. It's like, you live like a damn caveman. And I was like, well, I did for so long.
Why
Like,
did you used to club her in the head and stuff?
drag her in the bedroom by her hair. No, but
Reaching?
yeah, see, like, I'm just so used to living, I guess, the minimum like of everything. Again, it's funny, like right before I quit the police department and stuff like that, I probably on average might have watched maybe one movie a week with zero screen time. I do not do a lot of computers. It looks like I'm very active on social media, but that's something I learned about marketing back in like, I don't know, like 2011, 12, like this is you're showing your face to the public. And so not only do they see in my highlights, but it's very almost strategic. Like, even if it's just a post about the kids and it looks like it's just an innocent post, it's I don't know, it's to make me look normal human to the human people that I'm friends with, because I know there's some friends and family that watch. But at the same time, like, if I had my way, it'd just be a quick post and get off in the end, And I do have notifications, so I do see when people are, tagging me or commenting. So it looks like I'm a very active guy, but
It does. You try to make it look like you
Yeah,
know
but-
what to do with technology.
yes, oh my God, I suck at technology so bad.
That's not the only thing, but just because, like, I'm pretty sure we've ran this pretty long.
No, yeah.
You think we should bring it to an end?
Yes. So what advice would you give? Yeah, because we'll close mine first.
What?
But what advice would you give to newcomers, like independent filmmakers that are just like you and me? Like, what would you say?
Just do something else. Go work at McDonald's. They pay very well, especially if you become a manager. I don't know. Get a job at Walmart. Get all ideas of trying anything in the film industry out of your head, because it'll become an addiction, and just like a heroin addict, you'll end up dying trying to get more and more and more, and it just is never as good as the first time.
Yeah, I actually was on the set.
Brought to you by Sarcasm.
No, I was on the set in Nashville one time, and I was just an extra. And I'd already been doing like extra work for about a year and a half or something like that. Like, I was so burnt out and tired of it. And I remember walking through the studio, and this is when I got my friend Brad to come with me. Like, I'd talked him into doing some of it, and this just was not his scene. Like, he did not care for it. But anyway, so it's the first time he ever walked into a studio, and he's in all like, oh, man, like, like we're walking past like pre-built sets and stuff like that, and the camera equipment. And I remember thinking in my head, it's like, I wish I was him to feel that feeling. But I was also thinking, like, it kind of like an addiction that you just need more. I was like, man, if I would have went back in time 2 years ago and told my younger self that you'd be walking down these halls, he would have been excited. But I've done it so much, I was like, I hate this now. Like, I was like, it's like I'm ready for the next level. I can't just keep doing this no more. I gotta get the next high.
One thing for real that happened to me, like doing stuff and constantly doing stuff, from the moment I started doing projects, I would always try to line up something else, because I knew it was going to end. Like, that whole in the moment high of acting, I knew it was going to end. And every time a project ended, it was like a piece of me was being lost. And it still is. Like, doing this is so fun. I'm having so much fun right now. But I know.
Brought to you by Sarcasm.
Very sarcastic. I bet no one could tell. But like, I was also going to ask you, like, you want to do this again sometime?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, no.
Because there's
I
so
love
much
this
more.
because there's more I want to grow. Like, as you've listened to my podcast, there's a lot that I want to do. I want to eventually go to the Zoom. I want to do the YouTube. I did with what I had right then. And so I want it to grow in general anyway. And I love what you did with your brother and sister on the couch, and y'all did that conversation. It was like 20 minutes long.
That's
but,
not, okay. I forgot which. Okay, there's several things I've done with them on the couch. Now I know which one you're talking about.
yeah. Let's say, I consider that your first like podcast YouTube style of that. Like, I mean, I know you've done others, but I loved that, and I was like, that's what I'd like to start developing. And you have all the gear and all the cameras and all the stuff. I mean, I have stuff too.
I also have a lot of debt.
yeah. I'm lucky. I guess student debt, but other than that,
That's something else
That's a whole different
about this whole industry.
It's a very. I tell people this all the time. It's a very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a very expensive hobby because you ain't make. You got to do it because you love it, because you ain't making no money off of it.
That is like, for real, the advice one thing I would say to somebody is if
You
you're
got
going
one.
to do it and do it wholeheartedly. Like, if you're just half-assing it, like, yeah, you're not going to get anywhere. If you dive completely in, eventually, well, this is what I've been told, eventually it'll pay off and you'll get somewhere. I mean, I guess from the first time I did something film related to now, it's been about 18 years, maybe close to 20. And I mean, I can't get away from it, you know, like I can slow down on things, but I have never completely stopped, and I can't. Like, most of it's creative outlet that I have to have in some way, shape, or form. And that was kind of why I even started my YouTube channel, is because I wasn't working on projects, because I got like to a point where I got tired of showing up to independent projects and people being so unorganized, not knowing what they're doing and stuff. And like because I do have a full-time job, I've got limited time to do things. And so I started my YouTube channel because I was like, you know what? I'm in total control. I can just, if I want to spend all weekend filming, I can. If I want to spend 2 hours doing it and come out with something, I can. But there's that creative outlet. And that's what it's about to me, is like basically art for art's sake.
Yeah.
Make it because I can, and because if I don't, I go to a very dark place.
Me too. It's funny. I actually do a lot of short stuff, but I don't post a lot of it because, like, it's just me practicing me.
Yes.
You know, it's just for me, because I have to have that outlet. I can't tell you, like, I've probably written 1,000 scripts. Now, how many did I finish? How many have I sent to people? That's a whole different story. Same thing with YouTube videos. I have like probably 100 videos, but they're all unlisted unless I send you the link to it. You know, you ain't gonna get to it. But it's because I'm still practicing this. But I have to have the outlet, because I have quit a couple of times because just my life situation or something like that. I was married for 11 years, and she hated everything about the film industry. And but that's how I know that I was meant to do it.
But like when you finish something, even if you're not putting it out for everybody to see, isn't there like that like satisfaction?
Oh, yeah,
almost like your brain's coming and you're like, oh, I feel so good.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like,
immediately I'm seeking the next high though, because like if I finish a podcast, even if I'm like really tired and didn't really feel in the mood to do it, I made myself do it. Now it's finished. The next thing I know, like I only have to do some editing or something. I'm like checking everybody. Who can I get next on the show? You know, it's like, I booked 5 more people to come on. You know, and so I just I feel that same way. And it's post production depression, PPD.
Yeah.
I get that a lot. So you were talking about like that.
Yeah.
So
No,
I stay very active. As soon as I leave here, like, you know, we're doing this for a couple of days, and then I'm going to go help Joey on the 8th. And then October Lane, I don't remember the name of the movie, but we're going to be doing it for a couple of days somewhere here in Kentucky. And then when I get done with that, I have another short. And by then it'll be time for me to hurry up and get back to my podcast. And I know I got some short films I got to do for school. So, you know, at least I'm still doing something every day.
Like, I'm not joking. I thoroughly enjoyed this. And yeah, we'll have to do it again sometimes. It'll be cool. You know, help each other get off artistically.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh, anyway. Wonder Twin powers activate. Brought to you by Sarcasm. But anyway, yeah, no, thanks for coming on my show, and I'm happy to be on your show.
My show.
Yeah, it's been great. I love being on the show. Yeah, we'll do another episode. So.
Yeah, let's go see what else we can come on now.
Dun, dun, dun.